Sponsored by Dennis J. Courtney, M.D., Director of the Courtney Medical Group, located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray, Pennsylvania. For more information or to make an appointment, call 724-942-3002. That's 724-942-3002 for Dennis J. Courtney, M.D.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to AM Impact on Your Health. AM Impact on Your Health, for every day our goal is to have you learn at least one thing to help you live better and longer. AM Impact on Your Health, well, I heard each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney, and I'm with you each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9. AM Impact on Your Health, for each day you'll find current medical news, knowledgeable guests, fascinating health topics, and where we do encourage you to call in to join in. Today, folks, I hope you got the seatbelt fastened and give it a little extra tug. The ride may get a little bumpy around here. We got so much planned for you today. We're going to get right to it and spend some time with literally our scheduled guest, which will be coming right after that first break. We're going to be talking about RTD Dressings. That, of course, stands for, now I know, Retro Tech Dressing. The inventor of this dressing, which is sweeping the country and found in every hospital in the Pittsburgh area, we're trying to put it in the hands of you, the consumer, and give you the opportunity to have it in your medicine cabinet. Anyway, the discussion with both Tom Jarvis, the inventor of the dressing, as well as the local supplier named Kurt Domkowski. They'll be our two featured guests right after our first break. And if you are especially a diabetic, but you don't have to be, you just need to have the need to want to be able to take care of your own issues should they come up in terms of wounds. You've got Band-Aids in your medicine cabinet. Well, you need an RTD dressing. We'll talk about how in the heck you can get that accomplished. What we're going to do, however, just a little bit out of character for us, because we got a lot of festivities planned for tomorrow here in my office. You've been hearing us talk about, well, an amazing technology, one available to the Western Pennsylvania area only recently. We're one of the first here in the Western Pennsylvania area to utilize a technology called MCG. Although I disagree a little bit with how they should name it, they're calling it multifunctional cardiogramming. And we had the gentleman, the representative of the company who supplies us with this technology, Jerry Singleton, as one of our guests earlier on in the month. He's going to be in the office tomorrow all day, folks. You've been hearing about the public being invited in to get this study done. He's agreed to spend just a few moments with us this morning. I told him he's going to be rested up for tomorrow. Jerry, you with us, my friend?
I am. How you doing, Dr. Courtney?
I'm doing really good, Jerry, and you have stoked up some real excitement. We have a full schedule tomorrow of individuals who have called up, patients of mine, others who I have never met before, but who have taken me up on my opportunity, or their opportunity, to be a part of something really special with your MCG testing. Now, I have described your test as something like this. You verified this the last time we're together, but I'll mention it right now. I say that MCG testing provides us with the information as if you had a complete cardiac catheterization, but without ever having a cardiac catheterization. I asked you before, would that be an adequate description of your test? You told me then yes. You still say the same?
Well, absolutely, and I hope you would agree. We had performed about 15 of these last time in your office just as a trial run and to kind of compare the accuracy and so forth, and I think we agreed on each and every test. So the accuracy is very high on this. We have a 91% sensitivity and 85% specificity, extremely high at detecting disease and finding the true disease state, ruling out false positives and so forth. We've done numerous studies, circulation and tests, International Journal of Medicine, where we've paired our tests against angiography and cardiac cath, and each and every time we've been able to correctly identify disease burden approximately 90% of the time, which is phenomenal for any medical test.
Now, this test, quite different than a cardiac cath. Cardiac cath, so invasive, so plagued with the potential, at least, for risks and complications. Literally, you can die on the cath table, although it's meant to be life-sparing. There are a lot of horror stories coming out of those cath labs. And to be able to, and to think that you can accomplish pretty similar objectives by lying on a table fully clothed, exposing your ankles and your wrists, well, Jerry, it justifies, it shows where electronics and new and space-age technologies are finally coming to bear on the medical population in a way that you knew was coming. I mean, we've been seeing movies where they're doing crazy stuff like this for years, but now your company, a unique company with a unique product, is able to bring it right down to the local the doctor's offices, and we're happy to have you here tomorrow. Now, the test, literally quickly describe that test. We have figured out a way, I think, Jerry, even unbeknownst to you, to try to make certain that we don't have anybody waiting around. So we're going to have people taking off their shoes outside the testing room, putting their shoes back on outside the testing room also, giving you a chance just to get some initial data and hooking them up right away. Then, at once hooked up, tell them about this test. It's amazing to me. How long does it take, and how innocuous is it?
It's a 6 to 7 minute resting test. It's great. It's indicated for primarily for use for coronary artery disease, which I'm sure you've talked to your patients a lot about, which is the development of plaque or inflammation in those arteries. Those arteries become narrowed with time, and we all have inflammation, and or we all have plaque rather, and so it's the level of that we get with time, and with the different factors and the risk factors that play into coronary, like smoking, obesity, an inactive lifestyle, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol. Men over 45 are at higher risk. Women over 55. African Americans are at higher risk. Excessive alcohol consumption. Genetics and family history are the number one. So any patients that really fall into those risk categories, we're using this in a sense as a screening tool for the early detection of coronary disease. Okay,
you say there are 4 things total that you're testing for. What are the other 3?
Well, 4 indications rather. So
okay.
The first usage for this, again, is a screening tool for coronary disease, where we will literally get back a 0 to 20 score based on each patient, knowing their disease severity of coronary disease.
Okay.
The second thing is for the patients that already have some heart complications, in these areas. We're able to track their condition over time and identify if it's progressing. As you know, coronary arteries is one of those things that can get worse with time, and especially those patients that have had, those more severe patients that have had stents or bypass surgery or so forth. For those more severe patients, we're able to track them more closely and do this either every 3 months or every 6 months, so to monitor the progression of their disease.
Well, how about this? Better said, how about if you institute programs to correct, you would be able to monitor how you're improving also, and not that the disease needs to be moving in a negative fashion. It can be moving in a very positive fashion, and you need to know that, and you need to know so without having invasiveness. Fair enough said, too.
Oh, absolutely. That's true. It's very true. And there's several treatments that I know you and I have talked about that can lower that score a little bit, or at least at worst case maintain that score. And that's where this technology really becomes powerful in the hands of patients and of providers themselves. And that's where, as a preventative tool, we can really maximize this. Every patient out there should really know 3 things. They should know their weight, their cholesterol, and, in my opinion, their NCT score.
Very good. What's the 3rd indication? I'm going to move along here. You said to follow the progression of the disease. You get the 3rd and 4th indications. Can you recall?
Absolutely. A patient comes in of chest pain. If you've ever had I'm sure you've had that. They come in with chest pain. We can hook them up to this rather than spending, for those patients that have had that and have gone to the emergency room, they usually have to spend several days or at least a length of time where they have to do numerous tests and for a while. And so this is a great tool for that. In 6 to 7 minutes, we can take this test and with a very high degree of certainty return a report based on their condition. And then the fourth usage, again, for those more advanced patients that have had angioplasty or stents or bypass surgery, we can monitor what's called restenosis in those patients and use this up to 4 times a year. So, but again, I don't want to get too deep on some of the more advanced progressions of coronary disease, because there's a lot of usage, and probably the biggest bulk of the use for this is in the early detection of coronary disease. For those patients that have one or more risk factors, that maybe have some family history, if someone in the family has ever had any complications with this, you should absolutely be screened, be tested often, and take a real active role, given that it's Heart Awareness Month. We really need to do our part to make sure we're doing what we can to stay preventative.
Well, we're looking forward to tomorrow. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, we're looking forward to, we have a very interesting and up-and-coming relationship that will be unfolding with Jerry's company. I'm putting the full force of my reputation behind this device. It will do nothing but blossom, I think, Jerry. We're just one of the first. We always love being the first, but I think this is going to be found in every street corner here in up-and-coming years. It's just the way things are going to be moving. So thanks for coming and spending a little bit of time with us today. You better have a good breakfast tomorrow, Jerry, because we're going to keep you busy all day. Folks, that 7-minute test, completely innocuous. We'll usually have the results before the day is up, and we'll schedule a time with you where we can go over those results and find out what the plans should be for your future individually, and we'll speak more about that tomorrow. Okay, Jerry, thanks for coming aboard today. Have a good day, and I'll see you tomorrow morning.
See you first thing.
Okay.
Thanks, Courtney.
There you have it. All right, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. MCG testing part dos here tomorrow after having 13 patients on February 3rd. I think we've got 22, 23 tomorrow, and the list will just continue to grow as the future moves. So will MCG test. All right, let's do this. Going to take a short break. In the interim, I'm going to start hooking people up. We're going to be talking about a unique medical device. It has to be called a medical device. Sweeping the country, certainly has come to Pittsburgh. It's in every hospital formulary. I think I'm right about that. We'll be talking to Kurt Domkowski, who ought to know. But you, the consumer, you who have the diseases out there and know your wound position, may want to be able to take charge on your own. And we're going to try to help you out today by teaching you about something called RTD dressing from its inventor. Be right back.
Courtney, MD. You become confused about how best to manage your health. It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instructions, it just doesn't quite produce the results that you are looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
Dennis J. Courtney, MD, is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Want to help your family eat healthier? Instead of learning to disguise tofu in wondrous ways, how about some real nutritional power? If your family has the typical American palate for fries, pizza, and burgers, giving your family the blessing of good nutrition is a struggle. Fruit of the Spirit is the answer for your family's nutritional needs. Fruit of the Spirit is an all-natural, whole fruit puree made from fresh fruits native to the Holy Land with alkalizing minerals. Fruit of the Spirit was 5 years in the formulation, the work of a team of top nutritional experts with independent science to confirm its antioxidant power. 1 ounce a day provides the equivalent of 5 servings of fruits and minerals. Fruit of the Spirit is convenient, affordable, and delicious. Even your picky family will sing the praises of Fruit of the Spirit. Give your loved ones the blessing of good nutrition. Call 1-800-442-3793 for a special promotional offer. Fruit of the Spirit, a blessing for your good health. That's 1-800-442-3793. Call them now, 1-800-442-3793.
Hey, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back once again to AIM Impact on Your Health. Heard here on KHB 620 each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney with you today on this Wednesday version of the show. I told you had to put the seatbelt on today. Things may get a little bumpy around here. We're moving awful fast. Spending a moment or two with Jerry Singleton. I've been having taken the break now. We now turn to our featured guest for today. I've been excited about this. I'm always interested in everything that's brand new, and especially when it's a one-of-a-kind. And I think today's discussion deals with exactly those two items. This is absolutely a one-of-a-kind, and science is moving rapidly, and it's allowing us as consumers to participate in all the scientific gains. They don't necessarily have to come just to your hospitals. They can come to you. Today we're talking about those individuals who develop wounds that are awfully difficult to heal. The diabetic population being, as it is, always predisposed to having wounds that linger, and ways to handle these wounds they really haven't changed much. Well, that's at least up until now. Today, we're going to be talking about the unique dressing now available in the Pittsburgh area called RTD Dressings. We're going to have two guests. I think we're all hooked up now. The inventor, his name is Tom Jarvis, and the distributor, his name is Kurt Domkowski. I'm going to find out right now how we're going to do. Are we three together? Kurt, are you with us now?
I am. Good morning, Dr. Courtney.
Kurt, so glad that to see the radio station went and grabbed you. And Tom, are you still with us?
I am, Doctor.
Okay, so we got Tom Jarvis, the inventor of the RTD dressing, and Kurt Domkowski, who is involved with the distribution of this type of dressing in the western Pennsylvania area. And so, Kurt, what I want to do is just spend a little bit of time with Kurt as the inventor, talking about this device and how it is that he devised it and developed it. And then we're going to swing to issues of how maybe my listeners can actually get this thing in their hands. How about that? Would that be a good plan for today?
Perfect.
Okay. So, Tom Jarvis, we're with you. I'm talking to you, by the way, out in Utah, I understand, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
We got you up awful early out there, and I apologize for that, but thank you for allowing me to invade your morning, as I usually do for our West Coast folks. Now, Tom, tell us a bit about yourself. What is your field of endeavor, and how it is that you came to develop this dressing? I understand there's a little bit of a personal story behind it. I'd be real interested in hearing that story, as well as the science behind what you've done, because if I've read anything into this at all, have been presenting us with a revolutionary device to handle wounds, and I'm really proud to have you on my show. So take it away for a moment, Tom. Let's talk about you. What do you do?
Thank you very much. My background over the last years has been primarily involved in positions in medical administration, PPO and HMO consulting, HIPAA compliance review. I served as president of the Medical Review Institute of America in its formative years. And most recently, starting about 8 years ago, I put together and have headed the design and development group for George Waller Medical polyurethane medicated wound dressing that we refer to as RTD.
Now, you out of the clear blue sky decided to develop a dressing. How did that project come about?
Actually, it wasn't that. No. Actually, it is rooted in something very near and dear and personal to me. Years ago, I had a brother who was involved in a motor vehicle accident, was paraplegic as a result of it. He was in the hospital for 3 months. The hospital staff went to heroic measures to save his life, and they did. But while he was confined in the hospital, he developed two, what we call in medicine, stage 4, bone-exposed head sores. The cubitus ulcers. Yep.
Oh, the dread of hospital confinement. It's the scourge of any nursing staff to find a cubitus ulcer in one of their patients.
It certainly is, and it was dismaying to them. They worked very hard to try to reverse it. Did not. When he was reached in the hospital, the physicians attending him told us that they would eventually kill him. We cared for him at home for 4.5 years. We changed dressings and medication on those 2 wounds every day, 4.5 years. We couldn't infection suppress. We got 0 healing. It was very painful for him, physically and emotionally. I know it cost my mother a number of years of her life in frustration and concern over seeing her son waste away and die. And I vowed at that point in time that if I ever got a chance to change that for sufferers of these horrible wounds and their families to suffer with them, I would do so. And I can tell you from personal experience that when you have a non-healing wound with a family member, that wound rules the family. Every decision you make, you have to put the wound into consideration. 9 years ago, a general surgeon friend of mine and I were talking, and he says, I heard you talking about, you're going to do something about wounds, you're going to do something about wounds. Why don't you stop talking about it, start doing something about it? And I felt that certainly we had reached the point technologically where we should be able to do something better than was being done. And your introductory statement about very little changed over the years is true when it comes to wound dressing.
Yeah, I mean, most dressings they're just a barrier. They're sort of like just a covering. They do nothing more than prevent, I guess, they just prevent other organisms from getting in. They're not doing too much about the healing process per se, if I understand wound dressings at all.
I think that's a fair statement. God bless the people who manufacture wound dressings and who've done what they have, because they're far better than nothing. But with the technology we have today, to not have gone farther than we have, and having something that's effective, is really an embarrassment. I was fortunate enough to have medical professionals as friends, engineers, chemists, and pharma people who joined a managing member group to design and develop this. We found out about 4 years ago we were on the right track based on product evaluation in nursing homes. We were given everyone's failures once we designed the dressing and wanted to see how it performed. We were given everyone's failures. We actually had nursing staff, and I certainly understand this, who told us, we'll try it, but it's just to shut you up and make you go away. Because we've heard it all, and none of it really works as promised. And our track record of the last 4 years in terms of having a very inexpensive, easy-to-use, advanced wound therapy has come true. And using a blue medicated foam dressing that is easy to use. You don't have to be a trained medical professional to use it. And the healing results are remarkable.
Okay, so let's say if I was accurate about describing previous kinds of dressings where they only act as a barrier, once they get soaked up of whatever exudates and other fluids are going to be leaving, they're going to be needs to change daily. But as you so unfortunately described, and all too frequently I've been able to observe, these do nothing more than allow a wound to, at best, stay the same, never to heal. And I think you described that situation with your brother. Tell us about what it is about this dressing that actually, if I've been able to read it correctly, can revolutionize dressing in terms of your dressing actually does something. How does it do what it supposedly does, and what is it that it supposedly does?
The mechanics of it.
Ah, yes.
Every medicated wound dressing that I know of on the market, anywhere in the world, is designed to deliver medication into the bed of the wound. We thought that based on performance and history, was a flawed concept. We decided what we would do is we would design a matrix that would have the antimicrobials bonded to it, not release the medication into the wound, have such strong capillary action that the dressing pulls the gunk out of the wound, holds it captive, and then the medications are inside that matrix and are able to kill that. We have 10,000 capillaries per square inch in our dressing. The drawing power, the pulling power to pull that gunk in a wound, the eggs in the wound out, is remarkable. The dressing will hold over 20 times its weight liquid. And because it's designed to kill the bugs outside the body, not inside the body, do not load the wound with a lot of dead material.
Which, as dead material, would have to putrefy and further infect the wound.
That is correct. And then you create a circumstance where the body has got to try to get rid of that before it can start the healing process. You eliminate that, then the body's own natural processes can be triggered to heal the wound.
So instead of, I think maybe you just drew the line of demarcation between your invention as compared to others, where medicated dressings had been used. It was always meant to place these substances within the wound itself. You say, that never seemed to have panned out. You developed a way to literally draw the microbes as well as the exudates from the wound into this sponge-like material and literally make it discardable and literally get things moving in a completely different direction, moving from internally to external as opposed from external to internal.
That is correct. In medical terms, it will autolytically degrade a wound.
It'll auto-debride?
Uh-huh.
Is that the term you're using? Auto-debride?
Uh-huh.
Outstanding. Now, you say 4 years ago the things finally came across and were able to be utilized. I've had the benefit of looking at some of these wounds. By the way, wounds I've actually seen in the live work of being a doctor, and wounds that I heretofore had seen had to be taken to an operating room to debride, okay, because they just become hardened and they literally they form eschars and the like, which once they're formed, no further healing could even take place because it can't granulate. Therefore, you say that 4 years now that you've had this, you've had some success stories that heretofore were not possible. Talk to us about some of those.
I suppose the most remarkable one involves a patient in a place called China Springs, Texas. I got a Christmas card this last Christmas from this man and his family, thanking them for healing his staph ulcers on his legs, very painful. It was the first Christmas in 26 years he did not suffer with those ulcers. It took us almost 4 months to heal him, but we did. And here's a man who had those for 26 years.
That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal right there. Sure. Was he a diabetic?
Yeah.
He was a diabetic, and of course that population of individuals are plagued with wounds that just won't heal, and unfortunately usually move too far down the road to even allow healing to be considered, and quite often wind up in amputations. And at 26 years of having similar wounds, that gentleman was on his way to, I think, some very very, very tragic times. And I'm so glad to hear you say it'd take 4 months to clean up what 26 years of treating it another way did not.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that is correct.
Outstanding.
I'll give you one other one.
Go ahead, please.
Had a 76-year-old patient she and her family lived in Elk Grove, California. Her husband worked for the railroad. They were on Kaiser Medical Plan. She had diabetes. She had to have kidney dialysis. And she had 6 very large 3 to 5 centimeters deep, 8 by 7 centimeters height and width ulcers on her leg. Kaiser wanted to amputate her leg. They had her slated for double amputation. They heard through a friend about RTD, and the family actually moved to Salt Lake City to have her treated. 3.5 months. We had those ulcers healed.
You had those ulcers closed in 3.5 months.
One of my prized possessions is coffee cup with a photograph of me addressing her wounds with a note from the family. Their name is Carr, C-A-R-R. Thanking you very much for saving their mother's life. And that is a prized possession.
Well, you can see, ladies and gentlemen, that 4 years now, there's a potential here for just one success story after another success story. If those first 2 are any indication, we could spend a great amount of time talking about your successes. I'm just willing to put them up as miraculous. As I say, being a physician and seeing these things go south. And if you know what I mean by south, this is not a pretty sight to watch. And I mean, I can empathize so much with your original exposure to your brother with those very deep decubitus bone-exposing wounds, how frequently they did occur. And it is the challenge of all nursing staffs never to allow decubitus to form. I think the nurses are angels in preventing these things, but nonetheless, once they do occur, they have been notorious for progressing to the point where they are just they're unconquerable. Now, what I'd like to do is take a short break, if you don't mind, Tom. And when we come back, Kurt, you're still with us, right?
Absolutely.
I think we need to shift some gears, because what I'd like to do is take this from the theoretical stage for those out here listening to us, and put this in a realistic stage, because you're a distributor for this product in our area, and I'd like to hear from you, first of all, how our hospitals are responding to this dressing, and then secondarily, how maybe it is that the consumer can get these dressings in their hand to be able to walk to their medicine cabinet, instead of picking out a Band-Aid, grab an RTD. Do you think it can help us, Kurt?
Absolutely.
All right. Folks, you don't want to leave, you don't want to go away. We're talking about RTD dressings. If you are a diabetic, or if you know one, you want to make sure that they're paying attention to our show today. We'll be back in a moment with the inventor, Tom Jarvis, and the distributor, Kurt Domkowski. RTD dressings are being featured today on our show.
Have you been to the doctor lately? Was fatigue top of your complaint list? Even if your doctor asks you what you eat, the recommended 5 servings.
Do I have you guys there with me?
A day is a dream in your busy schedule. What if you learned of a product 5 years in the formulation that delivers 5 servings of fruits and minerals in just 1 ounce? That's right, it's Fruit of the Spirit. The blessings of Fruit of the Spirit are now formulated into a delicious whole fruit puree product rich in antioxidants and minerals. Your health is more than just a test result. It's a balance of physical, spiritual, and emotional factors. You work regularly to strengthen your faith. Let Fruit of the Spirit help cover your nutritional needs in a convenient and cost-effective ounce a day. Call 1-800-442-3793 for a special promotional offer. Fruit of the Spirit, a blessing for your good health. Fruit of the Spirit, 5 servings of fruits and minerals with no added sugars. That's 1-800-442-3793 for your good health. Call them now, 1-800-442-3793.
We'll bring you back. You become confused about how best to manage your health. It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instruction, it just doesn't quite produce the results that you are looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
Dennis J. Courtney, M.D., is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Hey, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back once again to AIM Impact on Your Health here on this Wednesday morning version of the show. Today we're discussing wounds and really how to make them become healed in a way, well, never really available before. A dressing has been invented that you're first hearing about today. The medical profession seems to be aware of this. We're going to be finding out how much aware they really are. As we continue our discussion now, we have been with the inventor of the product, RTD Dressing. We're now going to be talking a little bit with Kurt Domkowski. He's the local guy, the Western Pennsylvania representative of the distributor for this device. Kurt, you with me, my friend?
I am, Dr. Courtney. Good morning.
Thanks for spending some time with us today. We've just heard from Tom about this invention, literally inspired by a personal tragedy, but then so many success stories that you are the benefactor of, because when you're out there trying to sell a product that nobody else has, it can do something that no other product can do, times aren't too tough for you, are they, Kurt?
No, the feedback we're getting on the product has been so positive. With me and the local reps in the area, it's really taken off. Little story how I became involved with this product. Basically, about a year and a half ago, I was shown RTD dressing on a PowerPoint presentation, and from that point, I showed it to about 5 of my top doctors, and from that point, the feedback was so positive. And the one doctor who I had a really great relationship with, he goes, Kurt, he goes, there's only a product like this only comes along once in a lifetime. And from that point, I was sold, obviously, clinically. And obviously, I'm just so proud and honored to be associated with such a unique science with RTD dressing. In the local market, basically, a lot of the wound centers, the home health companies, foot and ankle podiatrists have really taken up. We are currently working with a lot of the hospital formularies. We're currently not on all the hospital formularies, but it's in progress right now.
Well, you did make, I think when you were in my office, you did say UPMC is one of your formularies, right?
We did get approved on our home health team, so that was a big win for us, and hopefully we can progress, through the different chains of command, obviously. We'd like to do, obviously, a peer-to-peer group or a grand rounds down there. But I'd be happy to talk to any of your callers, obviously after the show. I know Tom's traveling today, and they can reach me on my office number here.
Why don't you give us that office number? Go right ahead.
Sure, it's 412. It's 415-0704.
Okay, we'll have an opportunity to give that out a couple more times before we come to a conclusion today. What has occurred is you've been out there mostly dealing with the medical population itself. You say, and it would just make common sense that wound centers all over the place, especially in our neck of the woods, have already understood the advantages of RTD dressing and universally probably utilize them. Hospital formularies are gradually moving toward them. I think I can recall you discussing with me that surgeons, by the way, the surgeon lives and dies by his infection rate. Anything that a surgeon can do to minimize the infection rate of his patients, he will do it. I can guarantee you, Kurt, absolutely every surgeon, if they ever hear the RTD story, you've got a friend, and there'll be not too much time pass between the enlightenment for that surgeon and his hospitals carrying your device in his formulary. And so what's happening, I think, in ORs all across the country, and now happening in Pittsburgh is that you don't have to have an infected wound in order to be utilizing RTD dressing. You're finding your surgeons use this as the standard dressing when they close a wound at the end of any surgery. Isn't that what's happening?
Yeah. Obviously, we talked about the wound centers and home health really doing a great job just on wounds, but now we're really diving into, and Tom can really talk about this too, we have a lot of orthopedics taking the product on for post-op dressing. Obviously, preventing the staph infections for the post-op infections, because obviously RTD fights the virus too and infection. So the vast scenarios with plastic surgeries coming on board, dermatology. This is really a total crossover dress.
Now, by the way, Tom, you're still with us, aren't you?
I am.
I mentioned, and I'm looking into literature, this dressing of yours, which acts like a sponge to draw out organisms and exudates, is impregnated with 3 antimicrobial substances. What are those substances?
They are silver,
Silver.
gentian violet.
An old standby gentian violet.
Yeah, old standby gentian violet. By the way, the head of the CDC 7 years ago told me, if you can find a way to use gentian violet that isn't messy, that's effective in wound healing, you make a fortune. And then methylene blue for first.
Methylene blue.
Mm-hmm.
And so these, and by the way, all 3 of those are, we're not talking about any one of the 3, some revolutionary new antimicrobial antibiotic substance. These have been around, all 3 of these, for eons of time.
Yes.
Yeah, they're standards. Silver has been, and by the way, anybody in any burn center knows that the basis for Silvadine is silver, a great antimicrobial used on burn patients for the longest time. I don't think gentian violet and the methylene blue have been also utilized in wound centers, but you found that the 3 together have worked extremely well for you, evidently, huh, Tom?
There is a synergism with the 3 that's found it.
Ah, interesting. You say there's a synergism between the 3 that allows whatever microbes to hit that pad to literally have an anti-infective component within the pad and not within the wound itself, where putrefaction would lead to further infection. I got the picture. I can be a salesman for you, Tom. I really can.
You're doing a great job.
So, moving back to Kurt. So, Kurt, here we are in the Pittsburgh area. We've got doctors who are becoming aware of the RTD dressing, hospitals that are becoming aware, surgeons, as I said, you are a friend of any surgeon if you can eliminate and decrease their infection rate. But I have a selfish reason, in the words of the Godfather. I've got the selfish reasons here because I'd like to have the RTD dressing available to my listeners. I've got listeners right now who are diabetic. I believe they need to have these kinds of wound dressings available to them, not where they have to develop a wound first and then go to see their doctor. Can't this be handled in a way that allows the consumer himself to have this dressing available, Kurt?
Well, obviously it's not OTC. It is an RX.
It is an RX, meaning it is a prescription item.
From a wound center or home health, a nurse clinician would have to write it. Couple of the companies that are locally stocking it is Mercy Surgical is doing a great job. They're basically one of our national distributors. National Rehab's doing a great job on a third-party billing for our wound centers. So they're doing a great job locally, and but Tom can talk more about. And I'd be absolutely be honored to handle any of the phone calls and really guide the patients on how getting the product or going about it for sure.
Well, I can tell you, and I'll just mention it now, as a physician, I have the ability to write what you call those RXs, okay? And so for my patients especially, this is no problem. We're going to be able to get the RTD dressings in their hand. It needs to be in their medicine cabinet. We don't need delays when it comes to wounds and dealing with wounds literally from the moment you get the wound, as opposed to wasting any time at all. Let's go back to Tom on that. Tom, how how, if you've been able to do any research at all, have you noticed the effectiveness of your product deals with the early intervention as opposed to later intervention? I'm guessing that the earlier the better, but I'll take it from you, one of the inventors, to find out, is that a fact?
There is a autoimmune problem manifests as pyoderma gangrenosum. And, I would imagine many of your listeners probably would not have heard of that, but you as a physician,
I have heard of it, yes.
It comes, the gangrenosum comes from the gangrenous black, and generally when that manifestation, those wounds that are created as a result of having this medical problem, begin as a blister on the skin. And then the blister, as you know, turns black. And then it can just explode into enormous wounds in terms of depth, height, width. Not only is RTD heal those, and quite quickly, but we have, it doesn't cure the disease, it just gets rid of the wound. But we have patients of several years now whose families, as soon as a blister appears on the skin, the family puts RTD on, and the blister goes away, and the eruption doesn't occur.
Now there's the answer to the question about early intervention.
Yes.
So before you even have a wound, while you're in the blister stages, and you can almost anticipate that blister is going to rupture and you're going to have a wound, you say intervening at that step leads to wound healing before the wound actually occurs, if I've heard you correct.
Yes, stop it in its tracks, reverse it.
Well, there you go. For the diabetic population out there, these have to be soothing words to hear when just a scratch, just a pebble in the shoe, a bad toenail clipping and pedicure can lead to so many hazardous consequences. These are the kinds of steps that the diabetic would like to be able to take early on.
This is Dennis J. Courtney, MD. Have you become confused about how best to manage your health? It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instruction, it just doesn't quite produce the results that you are looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
Dennis J. Courtney, MD, is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Honey, just got the word. The company's new health plan has a $5,000 deductible. We have to make sure nobody gets sick this year. Remember what those doctors spent this cost for last year's colds and flu? Oh, sorry, I gotta go. Love you.
We can do this. We can cut the fast food lunches. Soda, that's a lot of sugar. We could all take that evening walk. And hey, I heard a program about fruit. Fruit of the spirit. What did they say? 1 ounce, the equivalent of 5 servings of fruits with herbs and minerals. We could add some to our breakfast protein shakes. Fruit of the Spirit is unique whole fruit puree. Fruit of the Spirit contains fresh fruits native to the Holy Land and alkalizing minerals from the Dead Sea. With no added sugars, Fruit of the Spirit's unique product from 5 years of work from science-based nutritional experts. Call 1-800-442-3793 for a special promotional offer. Fruit of the Spirit, a blessing for your good health. Fruit of the Spirit, convenient, affordable, and delicious. That's 1-800-442-3793. Call them now, 1-800-442-3793.
Hey, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back once again. Here we are at our our gun lap portion of the show. I don't know, Bill may have a little hair trigger there. I went to a commercial without even knowing it. I'm just making sure we're all together. Kurt, you still with us, my friend?
I am, Dr. Courtney.
And Tom, you're still with us too, correct?
I am.
Okay. We're here at the, about 6-7 minutes left, and trying to maybe work to some logical conclusion to this. Kurt, I'd like to swing it to you for just a moment. The early use of these dressings, it's amazing to hear, literally allows you to intervene before an actual wound even occurs, which is miraculous as far as I'm concerned. With respect to the dressing itself, is this something that insurance covers? If not, how costly are these dressings, so as to let our listeners know that they're within their reach in terms of keeping them aboard?
Sure, it is being reimbursed. We're under the code A6209 under the different insurances. The cost out there, obviously, with certain suppliers, they handle the cost. I don't want to give the, I guess, the original cost of the...
Give us a ballpark range.
Then we give it away.
Give us a ballpark range of where it would be, just so the listener, if they didn't have insurances.
Cost, I would say, literally between probably $15 and $22.
Okay, and this is a pad. This is a 4x4 inch pad that you don't have to use the entire pad all at once. You cut the pad to meet the size of the wound, correct?
Correct.
And so then you put something to fasten the dressing to the actual wound itself, whether that's a gauze type bandage or a wrap or adhesive or whatever. But this, depending on the wound size, could actually last quite a long period of time. So that kind of an expense is well within reach, especially if you are predisposed to these wounds, which absolutely you are. We got a couple of callers that I think are trying to get in here. You don't mind taking questions, do you, folks?
Nope, not at all.
Okay, come on aboard. You are with Kurt and Tom. Go right ahead. What's on your mind?
Hi, Doc.
Hi.
I've been late. I just wanted to know if they have a website just to
real good. Yes.
explain about the product.
All right, Kurt, how best for our listeners to be able to get more information about this? Is there a website? Tom, you have a website? Let's you first, Kurt. Go ahead.
Sure. I know Tom's a part of GeorgeWalterMedical.com, and the marketing rights is PioneerTherapeutics.com.
George Walter Medical, did you say?
Yeah.
And Pioneer?
Therapeutics.
PioneerTherapeutics.com. George Walter Medical and PioneerTherapeutics.com. Very good. I forgot to ask that myself.
I'm sorry. Did you say as long as a medical doctor can write a script that anybody who has an open wound can get such a dressing?
Not only have to have an open wound, you can have no wound, and you can have this in your medicine cabinet so as to be able to apply it should you need.
No one is a diabetic, right?
You don't have to be a diabetic either, as far as I'm concerned, okay, to have the prescription. Now, in terms of reimbursement, I think the diabetic maybe has, and I'm just speaking out of turn. Kurt, maybe you better answer that. It would be the diabetic would have a greater opportunity to get this covered or not. I don't know.
Well, National Rehab does our third-party billing, and they know all the insurances and everything.
Okay.
Great call for probably National Rehab.
All right, so.
I shoes from them a couple weeks ago, so I'll be calling them. And what are the initials again for the product?
RTD stands for. Go ahead, one of you take it. The inventor should take it. Retro Tech Dressing, correct?
No, really terrific dressing.
Oh, really terrific dressing. Ha-ha! Love it.
Thank you.
Okay, there you go. One of our listeners know her very well, and she is a diabetic, and she is always a proactive kind of gal, so I'm sure she's going to be going and accomplishing exactly what we're talking about. Here we are, truly in the Gun Lab portion of the show. I want to take the opportunity, Tom, to let you sort of bring this to a conclusion from your perspective today. Really proud to have you aboard. Nice to hear that you were out there and you took a personal tragedy and you made something completely miraculous out of it. Any closing words you have for our listeners today?
Yes. And for you also. Thank you, Doctor, very much for this opportunity. I sincerely appreciate it. On behalf of everyone at George Walter Medical, we do appreciate this. And for the folks who are listening, if you have a wound and it's causing you difficulty or it looks like it's going to, don't have to suffer. There is help available.
There is help available, and I certainly will take what I've learned today, and it's been a bunch, and been able to apply this and take it out in the patient world, and I'm sure I'll be able to help many by virtue of you coming up with this invention, Tom. So my hat's off to you. Kurt, you're going to be a busy guy here, aren't you, with this product? I think that nothing but up and coming and upwardly mobile are the words I'll use to describe your meteoric career. It's going to take off, Kurt.
Absolutely. I appreciate it, Dr. Courtney, and quote from Tom is I've received so many thank yous in the last year and a half, and never meeting these people, but we're actually helping them so much, and that's the big impact that we're doing here locally and regionally.
Well, I'll be working closely with you, Kurt, and helping to facilitate any of my listeners out there who feel that they either have wounds that need to be dealt with or want to just be proactive and have the availability of these kinds of dressings. I promise you, folks, I'll be there to help make sure it gets into your hands. Tom, I don't know where you're heading off to today, but wherever you're going to spread your love dust around, best of luck to you, my friend.
Thank you very much, Doctor.
Okay, there you have it. Kurt, I'll be talking to you in the very near future, too. We'll be, our paths are going to cross frequently because you, well, you're right here in the Western Pennsylvania area.
Absolutely, Dr. Courtney. Thank you very much.
Okay. We are at the crescendo moment, folks. We're right there at the gong. The bongos are playing in the background. You know what that means. So what I'd like to do is to thank my two guests, Tom and Kurt. Thank also for Jerry, who will be very busy tomorrow doing MCG testing in the office. You can unloosen the belt right now and rest at ease. This vehicle is coming to an abrupt halt. We'll see you on Friday. Until then, this is Dr. Dennis Courtney saying so long for AM Impact on Your Health.
AM Impact on Your Health is sponsored by Dennis J. Courtney, M.D., Director of the Courtney Medical Group, located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray, Pennsylvania. For more information or to make an appointment, call 724-942-3002. That's 724-942-3002 for Dennis J. Courtney, M.D.
KHB reminds you, children are naturally curious, so follow their lead. When you talk to your child, you build vocabulary. Learning starts before school does. For more tips, go to Born Learning.